Trust no one, except the lighthouse keeper. The words slip from Natasha Sterling's lips like a dying breath. Her fingers press something small and metallic into Ethan Cross's palm as her eyes roll back and consciousness abandons her. Blood pools beneath her head on the pristine marble floor of the Grand Metropolitan Hotel's lobby. The crystal chandeliers above cast fractured light across her pale face like broken promises. Ethan's heart hammers against his ribs as he maintains pressure on the wound at her temple. His janitor's uniform soaks up her blood, but he doesn't care. The woman in his arms is Natasha Sterling, CEO of Sterling Technologies, billionaire, untouchable. And she just entrusted him, a night shift cleaner, with something that feels like it could change everything. "Stay with me," he whispers, his voice steady despite the chaos erupting around them. Security guards shout into radios. Guests in silk pajamas peer down from the mezzanine. Sirens wail in the distance, growing closer. But all Ethan sees is the trust in her eyes before they closed. Trust that makes no sense. Trust that terrifies him. The flash drive burns against his palm like a secret made of fire. I hope this story finds you in a good moment. Maybe winding down after a long day, or looking for a companion during a quiet evening. There's something special about sharing these moments together, even across the distance. If you're enjoying this journey we're on, I'd love to know where you are and what you're up to while listening. Drop a comment and let me know. It really does make a difference. And if you want to make sure we can keep meeting like this, hitting that subscribe button means the world to me. Now let's see how far this story takes us. 24 hours earlier, Ethan Cross pushes his cart down the marble corridor of the Grand Metropolitan's 42nd floor. The wheels squeak a lonely rhythm that echoes off gilded walls. At 3:15 a.m., the hotel sleeps in luxury while he works in shadows, polishing surfaces that cost more than his annual salary, emptying trash bins that hold the discarded dreams of the wealthy. He pauses at a window overlooking the city. Lights twinkle below like earthbound stars, each one representing lives he'll never touch. His phone buzzes, a text from Mrs. Williams next door. "Lily had another episode tonight. Inhaler helped. She's asking for you." The words twist his stomach into knots. 8-year-old Lily, his everything, his reason for existing since Sarah died 3 years ago. The asthma attacks have been getting worse, the medication more expensive, the medical bills a mountain he climbs one night shift at a time. Ethan pockets the phone and returns to his cart. The industrial-strength floor cleaner smells like false hope and broken promises. It reminds him of the life he left behind, when Sarah's funeral bills bankrupted him. Before he became invisible, he was Ethan Cross, senior cybersecurity analyst at Meridian Defense Systems. Before Lily needed a father, more than the world needed another digital warrior. He moves through the suite level with practiced efficiency. Muscle memory guides him past oil paintings worth more than houses, past doorways that lead to rooms he'll never see from the inside. The work is mindless, which leaves too much space for thinking. About Lily's college fund that doesn't exist, about the specialist appointment they can't afford, about the way she draws pictures of castles with golden gates to keep the bad guys out. Room 4217 catches his attention. The door stands slightly ajar, unusual for this level where privacy costs $1,000 per night. Ethan approaches cautiously, his instincts from another life whispering warnings. Through the crack, he glimpses a laptop screen displaying lines of code that make his breath catch. Military-grade encryption, quantum algorithms, backdoor protocols that shouldn't exist. His hand freezes on the cart handle. The code on that screen is government-level security architecture, the kind he once designed to protect national infrastructure. What's it doing on a hotel guest's computer at 3:30 in the morning? A shadow moves behind the door. Ethan quickly resumes his work, but his mind races. The guest in 4217 isn't here for vacation. They're here for something that requires the kind of digital weapons Ethan once built. He finishes the floor and moves toward the service elevator. His thoughts churn like storm clouds. The Grand Metropolitan caters to titans of industry, foreign dignitaries, tech moguls who shape the world from penthouse suites. If someone's running advanced cyber operations from inside the hotel, it means the elevator dings. A woman emerges, moving with the fluid grace of someone accustomed to command. Natasha Sterling. Ethan recognizes her from magazine covers and business news segments. She's younger than the photos suggest, maybe 35, with dark hair pulled back severely and eyes like polished steel. She doesn't see him. The help, invisible by design. Her heels click against marble as she walks toward the executive conference room. She carries herself like someone who's never doubted her place in the world. Ethan watches her disappear around the corner and wonders what brings a tech billionaire to a hotel meeting at 3:30 a.m. His cart squeaks a lonely farewell as he heads home. The apartment building where Ethan lives squats between a laundromat and a check-cashing store. The elevator has been broken for 6 months, so he climbs 4 flights of stairs that smell like boiled cabbage and defeated dreams. His key turns in the lock of apartment 4B, and he steps into a world built from love and held together by determination. Lily has fallen asleep on the couch, her inhaler clutched in one small fist. A coloring book lies open beside her, a picture of a lighthouse, half finished, with careful crayon strokes that make the tower glow golden against a stormy sea. The sight hits him like a physical blow. She's been waiting for him again despite Mrs. Williams's presence. "Hey, little star," he whispers, scooping her into his arms. She stirs but doesn't wake. Her breathing is steady now, the crisis past. He carries her to her bedroom, where glow-in-the-dark stars cover the ceiling in constellations she arranged herself. Each star represents a dream: astronaut, explorer, lighthouse keeper, like the characters in her favorite books. Ethan tucks the blanket around her shoulders and kisses her forehead. The medical bills on his kitchen counter can wait until morning. Right now, she's safe and breathing easy, and that's enough. It has to be enough. He showers away the smell of industrial cleaner and settles into his own bed. Sleep comes hard these days, weighted down by responsibility and fear. But eventually, exhaustion wins, and he drifts into dreams of better days, when Sarah was alive, and the future felt like something they could build together, instead of something he had to face alone. The next evening brings rain that turns the city into a impressionist painting of neon and reflection. Ethan arrives at the Grand Metropolitan as lightning flickers across the sky. The storm matches his mood after another day of job applications rejected and bills demanding payment. Lily had been cheerful at dinner, chattering about her art teacher's praise for her lighthouse drawing. "Miss Patterson says I have natural talent," she announced, beaming over her macaroni and cheese. "She wants to enter my picture in the school contest." The pride in her voice made his chest tight with love and worry in equal measure. Natural talent doesn't pay for art supplies or contest fees. It doesn't buy the medication that keeps her lungs clear or the specialist visits that might prevent the next attack. Now, as he wheels his cart through the Grand Metropolitan's gleaming corridors, Ethan tries to focus on the work. The hotel tonight buzzes with energy. Some kind of high-stakes business conference has filled the executive floors with power brokers and deal makers. Security is tighter than usual. Men in dark suits lurk near elevators, their eyes tracking every movement. He starts on the 40th floor, working his way up toward the penthouse levels. The carpets here are Persian silk, the artwork museum quality. The silence so complete it feels sacred. This is where decisions get made that reshape industries and topple governments. This is where people like him exist only as background noise. Room 4217 is empty tonight, But Ethan can't shake the memory of that code on the laptop screen. Military encryption doesn't belong in hotel rooms. It belongs in secured facilities behind multiple layers of protection. Unless someone is using the Grand Metropolitan as a front for something darker than business deals. The thought follows him up to the penthouse level, where crystal chandeliers cast rainbow fragments across marble walls. He's mopping near the executive conference room when voices drift through the partially open door, heated, urgent, speaking in the kind of code that makes his old instincts prickle with warning. The timeline has moved up. Shanghai confirms they're ready to execute. Sterling can't be allowed to complete the migration. Once the data transfers, we lose our window. Permanent solution. Make it look natural. Heart attack, stroke, something the medical examiner won't question. Ethan's hands tighten on the mop handle. They're talking about killing someone. Someone named Sterling. As in Natasha Sterling, the woman he saw last night. The woman whose company develops cybersecurity systems for half the Fortune 500. He edges closer to the door, every instinct screaming at him to walk away. This isn't his world anymore. He's just the janitor, invisible and safe in his anonymity. But the voices continue, and what he hears turns his blood to ice. The daughter complicates things. 8 years old, lives with a neighbor during his night shifts. Leverage if needed. Children make excellent motivation. The mop falls from Ethan's hands, clattering against marble. They're talking about a child. They're talking about leverage. They're talking about, "Who's there?" The voice cuts through his paralysis like a blade. Heavy footsteps approach the door. Shadows shift in the sliver of light. Ethan grabs his mop and cart, moving with the fluid silence of someone who once infiltrated digital fortresses for a living. He melts into an alcove as the conference room door swings open. A man emerges, scanning the corridor with predator's eyes. Harrison Blackwood. Ethan recognizes him from business magazines, Natasha Sterling's partner and the co-founder of Sterling Technologies. Tall, silver-haired, with the kind of smile that sells million-dollar deals and hides million-dollar secrets. "Probably just hotel staff," Blackwood murmurs into a phone. "Increase security on all floors. Nobody moves without our knowledge." He disappears back into the conference room, leaving Ethan crouched in shadows with knowledge that could get him killed. They're planning to murder Natasha Sterling. They're prepared to use innocence as leverage. They're operating inside the Grand Metropolitan like it's their private fortress. And somehow, impossibly, they know about his daughter. Ethan makes it to the service elevator on legs that feel like water. His mind races through possibilities and fears. How do they know about Lily? How long have they been watching? And why would Harrison Blackwood want his own business partner dead? The elevator descends toward the lower levels where the real work of the hotel happens. Kitchens, maintenance, laundry facilities that keep the luxury machine running. Down here, the marble gives way to concrete, the chandeliers to fluorescent lights, the silence to the constant hum of industrial equipment. He needs to think, needs to plan, needs to figure out what to do with information that feels like poison in his mind. The smart play is to forget what he heard and focus on protecting Lily. The safe play is to keep his head down and his mouth shut. But Ethan Cross wasn't always just a janitor. Once, he was a digital guardian who built walls to protect the innocent. Once, he took an oath to defend against all enemies, foreign and domestic. The skills might be rusty, but the man beneath them hasn't changed. He pulls out his phone and Googles Natasha Sterling. The search returns hundreds of results: business articles, conference photos, profiles that paint her as a tech visionary who's revolutionized data security. But one article catches his attention. Sterling Technologies announces quantum encryption breakthrough. The timestamp shows it was published 3 hours ago. Ethan's blood turns cold as pieces fall into place. Quantum encryption would make current cyber weapons obsolete. It would render government backdoors useless and give ordinary citizens unbreakable privacy. The kind of breakthrough that could shift global power balances and make very dangerous people very angry. No wonder someone wants her dead. His phone buzzes with a text from Mrs. Williams. Lily asking when you'll be home. She has something special to show you. The message hits him like a slap. His daughter is at home, safe for now, trusting in a father who's supposed to protect her. And here he is, contemplating walking into a war that could destroy everything they've built together. But if he does nothing, Natasha Sterling dies. And if the quantum encryption dies with her, the world loses something precious. The hope that ordinary people can still have secrets, that privacy isn't just for the powerful. Ethan stares at his reflection in the elevator's polished doors. The man looking back wears a janitor's uniform, but his eyes hold the determined glint of someone who once stood between civilization and chaos. Someone who built digital lighthouses to guide the lost safely home. The Lighthouse Keeper. The nickname his old team used when his encryption algorithms saved another city from cyber attack. The identity he buried when Sarah died and Lily became his world. But some identities don't stay buried. Some lighthouses can't stop shining, no matter how dark the storm. The Grand Metropolitan Security Office occupies a windowless room in the basement. Banks of monitors display feeds from hundreds of cameras that watch every angle of the hotel's public spaces. Ethan has mopped this room dozens of times. He knows the blind spots, the camera positions, the routines of the guards who spend their shifts scrolling through endless footage of nothing. Tonight, he uses that knowledge. The guard on duty is Danny Thompson, a decent man with 3 kids and a mortgage that keeps him working double shifts. He's fighting sleep at 2:45 a.m. when Ethan slips past the cameras and enters through the maintenance corridor. "Danny," Ethan says softly, not wanting to startle him. The guard jumps anyway, his hand moving instinctively toward his radio. "Jesus, Ethan, you scared the hell out of me. What are you doing down here?" "I need a favor." Ethan moves to the bank of monitors showing the penthouse levels. "Can you pull up the executive conference room, 4220? Danny frowns but complies, his fingers dancing over the control panel. The screen flickers to life, showing an empty room with a long table and city views. "What's this about?" "I think someone's planning to hurt a guest." The words hang in the air between them like a live wire. Danny turns in his chair, studying Ethan's face for signs of deception or mental breakdown. "That's a serious accusation, man. You sure about this?" "I heard them talking. Harrison Blackwood and at least 2 others. They're planning to kill Natasha Sterling and make it look natural." Danny whistles low. "Blackwood? The tech guy? He's got half the penthouse rented for some big meeting. You're talking about going up against serious money here." "I know." Ethan's voice is steady despite the fear crawling up his spine. "But they also mentioned using children as leverage. Someone's daughter. 8 years old." The blood drains from Danny's face. He has daughters of his own. The threat resonates in his bones. "What do you want me to do?" "Help me get footage from the last 48 hours. Meeting schedules, guest manifests, anything that shows who's been in that room." Danny hesitates, his career and family security warring with his conscience. Finally, he nods and begins pulling files. "This better not blow back on me, Ethan. I can't afford to lose this job." It won't. But even as Ethan says the words, he knows he can't guarantee them. He's asking Danny to risk everything on the word of a janitor who claims to have overheard a murder plot. The smart money says Ethan is paranoid or mistaken. The safe bet is to ignore him and hope for the best. But Danny downloads the files anyway, burning them onto a flash drive with hands that shake slightly. "Here. But I never saw you tonight. Understand? I never gave you anything. Understood. Ethan pockets the drive, feeling its weight like a loaded weapon. Danny, keep your daughters close for the next few days. The guard nods grimly as Ethan disappears back into the maintenance corridors, leaving behind only the echo of footsteps and the weight of shared dread. In the privacy of a supply closet that smells like industrial disinfectant and forgotten dreams, Ethan connects the flash drive to his personal laptop, a 7-year-old machine he's kept running through sheer determination and salvaged parts. The hotel's guest manifest loads slowly, revealing a who's who of international power brokers and tech industry titans. But it's the meeting schedule that makes his blood run cold. Harrison Blackwood has reserved the executive conference room for the next 3 days, with guests including representatives from Chinese tech conglomerates, Russian cyber warfare specialists, and American defense contractors. The kind of people who buy and sell digital weapons like others trade baseball cards. And tomorrow night, less than 24 hours away, Natasha Sterling is scheduled to deliver a presentation titled The Future of Unbreakable Privacy. It's a setup. They've lured her here under the pretense of a business meeting, planning to eliminate her before she can release the quantum encryption technology to the world. Her death will look natural, her company will fall into chaos, and her revolutionary breakthrough will disappear into government black sites or foreign intelligence services. Ethan scrolls through the security footage, his trained eyes catching details that others might miss. There, a man with military bearing passing something to Blackwood. There, a woman with diplomatic immunity having an intense conversation with someone whose face is obscured by shadows. There, patterns of movement that suggest coordinated surveillance. The laptop's screen flickers, and for a moment Ethan sees code scrolling past, the same military-grade encryption he glimpsed in room 4217. Someone is monitoring the hotel's network, watching every digital transaction and communication. They're not just planning murder. They're conducting full-spectrum surveillance. His phone buzzes. Mrs. Williams. Lily woke up coughing. Gave her the inhaler. She's okay now, but asking for you. The message pierces through his focus like a blade. His daughter needs him. She's coughing alone in the dark, while he sits in a supply closet playing digital detective. The responsible thing, the safe thing, is to go home, hold her until she falls asleep, and pretend he never heard anything tonight. But if he does that, Natasha Sterling dies. And with her dies the hope that people like Lily might grow up in a world where privacy isn't a luxury only the powerful can afford. Ethan closes the laptop and makes his choice. Some lighthouses burn brightest in the deepest storms. The Grand Metropolitan's public areas at 3 a.m. exist in a state of suspended animation. Marble floors gleam under dimmed chandeliers. Empty seating areas wait for guests who won't arrive for hours. Ethan moves through this landscape like a ghost, his janitor's uniform rendering him invisible to the security cameras and the occasional insomniac wandering the halls. He's heading for the service elevator when he sees her. Natasha Sterling sits alone in the main lobby's conversation area, her silhouette outlined against floor-to-ceiling windows that frame the sleeping city. She's still wearing business attire despite the hour, a charcoal suit that probably costs more than Ethan's annual salary. But something about her posture suggests vulnerability. She holds herself like someone carrying a weight too heavy for her shoulders. She's beautiful in the way that successful women often are, polished, confident, intimidating. But in the dim lobby lighting, with her guard down and her face soft with exhaustion, she looks human, fragile, alone. Ethan approaches slowly, his cleaning cart announcing his presence with its familiar squeak. She looks up as he draws near. Her eyes are blue-gray like storm clouds, and they study his face with surprising intensity. "Late night?" she asks, her voice carrying the trace of an accent he can't quite place. "Early morning," he replies, continuing his work, but staying within conversation distance. "You okay, ma'am? It's not safe to be alone down here this time of night." She smiles, a real smile that transforms her face from corporate mask to something warm and genuine. I couldn't sleep. Too much on my mind, I suppose. Big day tomorrow. The words hit him like ice water. She has no idea what's waiting for her. She's sitting here vulnerable and unguarded, while killers plan her death just floors above. The urge to warn her wars with the knowledge that she'd never believe a janitor's wild conspiracy theory. "Must be important," he says carefully. "World-changing, if everything goes right." She stands, smoothing her skirt. "I've spent 5 years developing something that could give ordinary people the same privacy protection that governments and corporations take for granted. Tomorrow, I finally get to share it with the world." Her enthusiasm is infectious, even in the dim lobby. This isn't just business to her, it's a mission. She genuinely believes she's fighting for something greater than profit or power. "Sounds like noble work," Ethan says. "Someone has to stand up for the little guy." She picks up her purse, expensive leather that probably contains technology worth more than most people's cars. "Well, I should try to get some sleep. Big day ahead." She walks toward the elevator bank, her heels clicking against marble. Ethan watches her go, memorizing the determined set of her shoulders and the way she moves like someone accustomed to being the smartest person in the room. Tomorrow, they're going to kill her. The elevator arrives with a soft ding. Natasha steps inside, turns, and for a moment their eyes meet across the empty lobby. She raises her hand in a small wave, acknowledging him not as the help, but as another human being sharing a moment of connection in the vast emptiness of night. The doors close, and she's gone. Ethan finishes his shift in a haze of determination and dread. The hotel's luxury surrounds him like a beautiful cage, marble and gold and crystal that mask the ugly realities of power and ambition. Somewhere above, killers refine their plans while their target sleeps, unaware that her noble mission has signed her death warrant. By 5:30 a.m., the city begins its slow awakening. Traffic increases. Coffee shops open. Early commuters board trains and buses that carry them toward another day of ordinary dreams and modest hopes. Ethan walks among them, invisible in his exhaustion, weighted down by knowledge he can't share and responsibilities he can't escape. His apartment building looks shabbier in the morning light. Paint peels from its facade like old skin, and the broken elevator sign hangs crooked in the lobby. He climbs 4 flights of stairs that smell like failure and yesterday's cooking, each step taking him further from the world of marble and crystal and closer to the reality of bills and worry and love that fits in a 2-bedroom apartment. Mrs. Williams opens her door before he can knock. "She had a rough night," she says without preamble. "The coughing started around midnight. I gave her the inhaler like you showed me, but she's been restless ever since." Guilt hits him like a physical blow. While he was playing spy in hotel corridors, his daughter was struggling to breathe. While he was agonizing over strangers' problems, Lily needed her father. "Thank you, Mrs. Williams. I'm sorry you had to—" "No need to apologize, dear. She's a good girl. But that cough is getting worse." The observation lands like a pronouncement of doom. The cough is getting worse. The medication is becoming less effective. The specialist they can't afford keeps getting further away. Every night he works, every dollar he earns cleaning up after the wealthy, brings them no closer to the help she needs. Ethan lets himself into the apartment and finds Lily asleep on the couch, her small chest rising and falling with the careful rhythm of someone whose lungs work harder than they should. Her inhaler lies beside her like a talisman. Her coloring book shows a half-finished lighthouse standing guard over rough seas. He carries her to her room, tucking her under blankets decorated with stars and moons and dreams of distant worlds. She stirs as he kisses her forehead, her eyes fluttering open. "Daddy? You're home," I'm home, little star. Go back to sleep. I finished the lighthouse. Her voice is thick with sleep but proud. Want to see? She shows him the coloring book page. The lighthouse now complete, its beacon cutting through storm clouds to guide ships safely home. The yellow crayon she used for the light glows like captured sunshine against the dark paper. It's beautiful, sweetheart, just like you. She smiles and drifts back to sleep, leaving Ethan to sit in the chair beside her bed and watch the morning light creep across her face. This is his world. 4 walls that contain everything that matters, everything worth protecting, everything that gives his life meaning. But today, that world intersects with marble corridors and murder plots, and a woman who believes she can change everything. Today, the lighthouse keeper must decide whether to keep his beacon dark or let it shine one more time. His phone buzzes. A news alert. Sterling Technologies stock soars on quantum encryption announcement. The markets have already started reacting to tonight's presentation. Billions of dollars in value hang on Natasha Sterling's revolutionary breakthrough. Entire industries face disruption. Governments and criminals alike stand to lose the surveillance and hacking capabilities they've grown to depend on. No wonder someone wants her dead. Ethan looks at his daughter's peaceful face, then at the lighthouse in her coloring book. Some beacons shine in the darkness, not because it's safe, but because someone has to hold back the night. He makes his choice. The clock on Ethan's kitchen wall ticks toward noon. Each second brings Natasha Sterling closer to her death, and his daughter closer to becoming a pawn in a game neither of them understands. He sits at the small table where Lily ate breakfast hours ago, her cereal bowl still in the sink, her lighthouse drawing propped against the salt shaker like a beacon of hope in the growing darkness. His laptop hums quietly as encrypted files transfer to a secure server, insurance policies hidden in digital vaults that even Blackwood's people can't touch. The evidence is damning. Recorded conversations, financial transfers, communication logs that trace the conspiracy back to its roots. But evidence won't save Natasha tonight. It won't protect Lily if Blackwood decides to use her as leverage. For that, he needs help from the one person who might understand. Ethan opens an encrypted messaging app he hasn't used in 3 years and types a single word: lighthouse. The response comes within minutes. Jesus Christ, Ethan. I thought you were dead. Jake Morrison, former colleague, digital warrior, the only person from his old life who might believe what sounds like the paranoid delusions of a washed-up janitor. Their last conversation ended in anger, Jake begging him to stay in the game while Ethan chose fatherhood over duty. 3 years of silence stretches between them like a canyon. Need help, Ethan types. Corporate assassination. Tonight. Grand Metropolitan Hotel. Are you insane? You're a cleaning man now. Stay in your lane. The words sting because they're true. Ethan Cross, the cybersecurity expert, died with Sarah. What remains is a ghost in a janitor's uniform, chasing shadows and conspiracy theories. But sometimes ghosts are exactly what the world needs. They know about Lily. The silence stretches for 30 seconds. An eternity in digital time. Finally, I'm listening. Ethan uploads everything. Audio recordings, guest manifests, security footage, financial transfers. The digital breadcrumbs that paint a picture of murder dressed up as business. Jake processes it all with the methodical precision that made him legendary in their old world. Holy shit. Blackwood's not just stealing the encryption. He's selling it. Chinese military, Russian intelligence, 6 black sites that shouldn't exist. This goes all the way to the top. Can you stop it? Not from here. But I can give you eyes and ears, real-time intelligence, Overwatch like the old days. The old days, when they were young and invincible and believed technology could save the world, when the enemy wore uniforms and played by rules that made sense. Now the enemy wears expensive suits and murders innovators in luxury hotels. Now the rules are written by whoever has the deepest pockets and the darkest secrets. "What do you need?" Jake asks. "Access to the hotel's network, security feeds, communication intercepts, building schematics. And Jake, if this goes bad, make sure the evidence gets to the right people. Don't let her death be for nothing. It won't come to that. You're the best I've ever seen. Time to remember who you used to be." The Grand Metropolitan transforms as evening approaches. Marble corridors fill with the whispered conversations of power brokers and deal makers. Ethan moves through this world, wearing his janitor's uniform like armor, invisible to the predators who stalk these gilded halls. His cart contains more than cleaning supplies tonight. Hidden beneath false bottoms are tools from his old life. Signal jammers, lock-picking devices, communication gear that could start or stop wars. Jake's voice crackles through his earpiece. "I'm in their network. Blackwood's people have Sterling's presentation room wired for sound and surveillance. The meeting's at 8 p.m. She's scheduled to arrive at 7:30. Security layout? 6 guards on the penthouse level. Ex-military, well-armed. Blackwood's taking no chances." Ethan checks his watch. 6:45 p.m. The pieces are moving into position. The trap is set. All that remains is to spring it. But as he approaches the service elevator, his phone buzzes with a text that turns his blood to ice. "Mrs. Williams, strange men came by asking about you. Told Lily they were friends from work. She's scared. What should I tell her? They've moved faster than expected. The leverage is already in play. His daughter is already a target." Ethan's hands shake as he types back. "Lock the doors. Don't let anyone in. I'm coming." But he's 20 floors below, where Natasha Sterling is walking into a trap, and 40 minutes away from where his daughter waits in growing terror. He can't be in both places at once, can't save them both, can't choose between the woman who trusts him and the child who needs him. The elevator arrives with a soft ding. Ethan stares at the buttons, down to street level and Lily's safety, or up to the penthouse and Natasha's rescue. The choice that will define the rest of his life, measured in the seconds it takes for doors to close. "Dad?" Jake's voice in his ear, reading the silence. "What's happening?" "They have her. They have my daughter." A pause that contains everything. Understanding, sorrow, rage. Jake knows about Lily, knows what she means, knows the impossible weight of the choice. Then we save them both. How? Trust me, and trust yourself. You're not just a janitor anymore. Time to be the lighthouse keeper. The penthouse level of the Grand Metropolitan exists in rarefied air. Here, conversations shape global markets, and handshakes topple governments. Ethan emerges from the service elevator into a world of crystal and gold, where every surface reflects the weight of power and money. His janitor's uniform grants him invisibility among the titans. He's background noise in their symphony of ambition. But tonight, he carries secrets that could burn their world to ashes. Jake's voice guides him through the maze of corridors. Natasha just entered the building. Blackwood's people are in position. And Ethan? I've got eyes on your apartment. 2 men outside, 1 in a van across the street. Mrs. Williams has the deadbolts engaged, but they're not going anywhere. The trap is closing on multiple fronts. Blackwood has orchestrated this like a chess master. Eliminate the queen, control the board, use the pawn to ensure compliance. But he's made one crucial mistake. He's underestimated the janitor. Ethan positions himself near the executive conference room, where death waits, dressed as a business meeting. Through the partially open door, he sees Blackwood pacing like a caged predator. His associates check weapons and adjust communication gear. The air thrums with predatory anticipation. She's in the elevator, Jake reports. 60 seconds. Ethan's heart hammers against his ribs as he activates the signal jammer hidden in his cart. Electronic communications die in a 30-foot radius around him. Blackwood's people suddenly find themselves deaf and blind. Their coordinated attack becomes chaos as backup plans crumble. "What the hell?" someone shouts inside the conference room. The elevator dings. Natasha Sterling steps out, moving with the confident grace of someone who believes she's among allies. She wears a navy suit that speaks of power and success. Her eyes shine with the anticipation of sharing her revolutionary breakthrough with the world. She has no idea she's walking into her own execution. Ethan acts on pure instinct. He abandons his cart and intercepts her in the corridor. His hand closes around her wrist with gentle urgency. "Miss Sterling, you can't go in there." She turns, recognition flickering in her eyes. The night janitor from the lobby, the invisible man who wished her well. "I'm sorry? It's a trap. They're going to kill you." The words hang between them like a live wire. She stares at his face, searching for signs of madness or deception. What she finds instead is desperate sincerity and eyes that have seen too much truth. "Who are you?" she whispers. "Someone who used to build walls to keep the darkness out. And right now, you need to trust me." The conference room door explodes open. Blackwood emerges with murder in his eyes and a gun in his hand. Behind him, his associates move with military precision. "Step away from her, Janitor." But Ethan doesn't step away. He places himself between Natasha and the weapons. His body becomes a shield forged from determination and desperate love. "You want her? You go through me." Blackwood laughs, a sound like breaking glass in the crystal air. "You think this is some kind of movie? You're nobody. Nothing. A failed man in a failed life playing hero games that will get you killed." "Maybe," Ethan says quietly. "But heroes aren't the ones who never fall down. They're the ones who get back up." The confrontation explodes into violence with the suddenness of lightning. Blackwood's men move with practiced efficiency. Weapons appear like magic in trained hands. The marble corridor becomes a battlefield where corporate assassins hunt their prey. But Ethan Cross isn't just a janitor anymore. Muscle memory awakens from years of dormancy. Training surfaces from depths he thought buried forever. The digital warrior emerges from behind the custodial mask like a phoenix rising from ashes. He tackles Natasha behind a marble pillar as bullets spark off crystal chandeliers. Glass rains down like deadly snow, while Jake's voice crackles in his earpiece. "Hotel security is compromised. Police are 20 minutes out. You're on your own." "What about my daughter?" "Working on it. Focus on staying alive." Ethan focuses on more than survival. He focuses on victory. The signal jammer has scattered Blackwood's coordination. Their professional attack becomes improvised chaos. He uses their confusion against them, leads them through corridors he knows better than they do, turns the Grand Metropolitan's luxury into weapons and shields. A crystal vase becomes a projectile that shatters against a gunman's head. A Persian rug becomes a tripwire that sends an assassin sprawling. The janitor's knowledge of every corner and shadow transforms into tactical advantage that no amount of military training can overcome. "This way," he whispers to Natasha, guiding her through service passages that connect the hotel's hidden anatomy. She follows without question, trust born from desperation and the growing realization that the invisible man might be her only chance at survival. Behind them, Blackwood's rage echoes through marble corridors. "Find them! Every corner! Every room! They don't leave this building alive." The hotel's service levels exist beneath the world of marble and gold. Concrete corridors and industrial lighting replace crystal chandeliers and Persian carpets. Here, Ethan moves with the confidence of someone who knows every pipe and wire. Here, he's not invisible. He's home. There's a service exit through the loading dock, he explains to Natasha, as they navigate the maze of tunnels. We can reach the street from there. But Jake's voice stops him cold. Negative on street exit. They've got the building surrounded. And Ethan, the men at your apartment just went inside. Terror floods through him like ice water. Lily is alone with killers. Mrs. Williams can't protect her. His daughter faces the darkness he spent 3 years trying to keep at bay. The choice he thought he'd made is being made for him. Save the woman beside him and lose the child who is his world. I have to go, he tells Natasha, his voice breaking. I have to save her. She grabs his arm, her grip fierce with understanding. Then we save her together. The words hit him like revelation. Not a choice between them, but unity against the darkness. Not isolation in his struggle, but alliance with someone who understands the weight of protecting what matters most. Jake, Ethan speaks into his earpiece. I need a distraction, something big enough to draw them away from the building. What do you have in mind? Remember the Beijing job? The one where we turned their own security system against them? A pause. Then Jake's voice, filled with dangerous joy. Oh, hell yes. Give me 60 seconds. The Grand Metropolitan's fire suppression system activates with biblical fury. Sprinklers flood the penthouse levels, while alarms shriek, warnings that echo through marble corridors. Emergency lighting kicks in, casting everything in hellish red shadows. Guests evacuate in panic, while Blackwood's coordination dissolves into chaos. That's our cue, Ethan says, guiding Natasha through maintenance tunnels toward the loading dock. But they don't head for the street. Instead, he leads her to a service vehicle parked in the hotel's underground garage. A simple van that could belong to any maintenance company in the city. The kind of vehicle no one notices. The kind that renders its occupants invisible. We're going after my daughter, he explains, starting the engine. We're going to war, she corrects, checking the equipment Jake has somehow delivered to the van. Communication gear, surveillance devices, tools that speak of resources far beyond a janitor's reach. Who are you, really? Someone who used to matter, Ethan says, as they drive through streets that blur past like neon dreams. Someone who built digital lighthouses to guide people safely through the dark. Someone who forgot that heroes don't retire, they just wait for the next storm. The apartment building where Lily waits looks the same as always. Tired brick facade, broken elevator, windows that frame ordinary lives and modest dreams. But tonight, predators stalk its hallways. Tonight, innocence faces the darkness that powerful men create when they believe themselves untouchable. Ethan parks 3 blocks away and studies the building through binoculars Jake has provided. 2 men outside the main entrance, 1 in a van across the street. Unknown numbers inside. His daughter is trapped in a vertical cage, while killers close in from all directions. This is insane, Natasha whispers. We should call the police. Police take time. Lily doesn't have time. He studies her face in the dim light. This woman who builds digital walls to protect privacy. Who fights for the little guy. Who trusted a janitor with her life based on nothing more than instinct. She could run. Could disappear into witness protection. Could let professionals handle the violence while she remains safely distant. Instead, she checks the communication gear and asks, "What do you need me to do?" The question transforms everything. Not a victim to be protected, but an ally in the fight. Not someone who needs saving, but someone willing to do the saving. Partnership forged in fire and tested by impossible choices. Can you access the building's electrical system? He asks. Her smile is sharp as a blade. I revolutionized cybersecurity for a reason. Give me 10 minutes, and I'll own every wire in that building. The assault begins with darkness. Every light in the apartment building dies simultaneously. Emergency power fails. Even battery-operated devices succumb to Natasha's digital sorcery. The building becomes a black tomb, where Blackwood's men stumble like blind predators, while their prey moves through familiar territory. Ethan climbs the fire escape with the silence of someone who once infiltrated enemy strongholds. 4 stories of rusted metal that groan under his weight, but hold firm. The window to his apartment glows with the soft light of Lily's nightlight, the only beacon in the manufactured darkness. Through the glass, he sees her cowering behind the couch where she fell asleep so many nights waiting for her father. Mrs. Williams lies zip-tied on the kitchen floor. 2 armed men search the apartment with tactical flashlights, while a third speaks urgently into a radio that receives only static. Jake's jamming is working. They're cut off from their support, isolated in hostile territory, beginning to understand that they're no longer hunting. They're being hunted. Ethan slides the window open with practiced silence. The apartment that has been his sanctuary for 3 years becomes a battlefield where he fights for the only thing that truly matters. Not justice or patriotism or noble causes, but the simple, overwhelming love of a father for his child. The first man never sees him coming. Ethan strikes from behind with the precision of someone trained to end threats, quickly and quietly. The man crumples without a sound, while his weapon disappears into shadows. 2 down, 1 to go. The remaining gunman spins toward the sound, his flashlight cutting through darkness like a blade. But Ethan is already moving, already inside his opponent's guard, already applying techniques learned in another life when survival depended on being better, faster, smarter than the enemy. The fight is brief and brutal, and absolutely silent. When it ends, 3 unconscious men lie in his living room, while Lily stares at her father, with eyes wide with terror and awe. "Daddy? Are you a superhero?" He kneels beside her, pulling her into his arms with desperate relief. "No, sweetheart. I'm just your dad. But sometimes dads have to do superhero things to keep their little girls safe." The reunion is brief. Danger still stalks the night while Blackwood's remaining forces regroup and plan their next assault. Ethan carries Lily down the fire escape, while Natasha provides overwatch from the van. Her laptop displays real-time intelligence that Jake feeds from his digital fortress. "Blackwood's at the hotel with a full tactical team," she reports, as they drive through empty streets. "He's coordinating with someone called Control. Sounds like government oversight." "Deep state," Ethan explains grimly. "People who believe national security justifies any crime. They want the quantum encryption buried, not because it threatens enemies, but because it threatens them." In the back seat, Lily colors in her lighthouse book with fierce concentration, her young mind processing the night's terrors through art and imagination. The tower she draws stands tall against storm clouds. Its beacon cuts through darkness to guide lost ships safely home. "Where do we go?" Natasha asks. "Somewhere they can't follow. Somewhere the lighthouse still shines." The abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of the city looks like countless others. Rusted metal walls and broken windows that speak of industrial decay and forgotten dreams. But inside, Jake has built something magnificent, a digital fortress that rivals anything government agencies can field. Banks of servers hum quietly in climate-controlled silence. Multiple monitors display feeds from cameras and satellites around the globe. Communication arrays reach into cyberspace with invisible tentacles that gather intelligence from the darkest corners of the digital world. "Welcome to the lighthouse," Jake says as they enter his domain. He's older than Ethan remembers, grayer around the edges, but his eyes still hold the fierce intelligence that made him legendary. "I built this place after you quit. Someone had to keep watching the watchers." Lily explores the warehouse with wonder, while the adults plan their final assault on the forces of darkness. She discovers Jake's collection of vintage computers and treats them like archaeological treasures. She draws pictures of the servers and calls them robot friends. She finds joy in the midst of terror with the resilience only children possess. The evidence is damning, Jake explains, pulling up files that detail Blackwood's conspiracy. Financial transfers, communication logs, assassination orders, enough to bring down half the defense establishment. But they'll never let it see daylight. Too many important people involved. Then we make it daylight, Natasha says with quiet determination. I have something they want. Time to make a trade. The final confrontation takes place where it began, in the marble corridors of the Grand Metropolitan Hotel. But this time, Ethan Cross doesn't arrive as a janitor seeking invisibility. He arrives as the lighthouse keeper, broadcasting truth into the darkness, with weapons forged from justice and tempered by love. The hotel lobby has been cleared of guests. Police barriers seal the entrances, while federal agents coordinate with Blackwood's private security. They've turned the building into a fortress, where powerful men believe they can rewrite history and bury inconvenient truths. They're about to learn that some truths refuse to stay buried. Ethan, Natasha, and Lily enter through the service entrance he knows better than anyone. 3 generations of hope walking together into the heart of corruption. Lily carries her lighthouse drawing. Natasha carries the quantum encryption that could free the world. Ethan carries the weight of protecting them both. Final offer. Blackwood's voice echoes through the lobby via hidden speakers. The woman, the data, and my problems disappear. In exchange, the janitor and his daughter live to see tomorrow. You have 10 minutes to decide. Counter-offer, Ethan speaks into the marble silence. His voice carries the authority of someone who once built digital walls to protect civilization. You surrender now, and I don't release the evidence that destroys everyone you work for. Laughter echoes from hidden speakers. What evidence? The word of a washed-up janitor against the full weight of the security establishment? Not just his word. Jake's voice joins the conversation through hijacked communication systems. The recorded confession you made an hour ago when you thought you were talking to Control. Turns out Control works for me now. Silence. Then the sound of weapons being readied. Tactical teams moving into position. The moment when words give way to violence. But Ethan has one more card to play. Lily, he says gently. Show them your lighthouse. His daughter holds up her drawing. The completed lighthouse with its beacon shining through storm clouds. As she does, every screen in the hotel flickers to life. Security monitors, guest televisions, digital displays in the lobby and conference rooms. Jake's digital sorcery turns the entire building into a broadcast platform. The lighthouse begins to shine. Evidence floods across every screen. Recorded conversations, financial transfers, assassination orders, the complete architecture of corruption that reaches from corporate boardrooms to government black sites. The truth spreads through fiber optic cables and wireless signals, uploads to servers around the globe, copies itself into systems that no amount of money or power can touch. In the age of digital information, secrets become impossible to contain once they escape into the light. The aftermath unfolds with the grinding inevitability of justice finally unleashed. Federal agents, faced with irrefutable evidence of treason and murder, turn their weapons on Blackwood's private army. The corrupt are separated from the righteous in the crucible of truth. Blackwood himself disappears into witness protection, trading his conspirators' secrets for a life spent looking over his shoulder. The quantum encryption reaches the world not through corporate channels, but through open-source release, Jake's final gift to the digital commons. Privacy becomes a right rather than a privilege. Ordinary citizens gain the tools to protect themselves from surveillance and control. And in a small apartment that has been cleaned and painted and made new, a family celebrates the victory of light over darkness. 6 months later, Lily runs through the playground behind their new house, a modest home with a yard and trees and neighbors who wave from their porches. Her laughter rings across the autumn air while her father watches from a bench, no longer invisible, but no longer hiding. Ethan Cross, Chief Security Officer of Sterling Technologies, has traded his janitor's uniform for a suit that fits properly and work that matters. But more importantly, he's traded isolation for partnership, fear for hope, darkness for the kind of light that comes from knowing he fought the monsters and won. Natasha emerges from the house carrying 2 cups of coffee and wearing the kind of smile that transforms corporate masks into human warmth. She settles beside him on the bench, close enough that their shoulders touch in casual intimacy. "The board meeting went well?" he asks. "They approved the new privacy initiative, full funding for digital rights advocacy." She sips her coffee and watches Lily climb the jungle gym with fearless determination. Jake's foundation will handle the technical implementation. In the distance, Jake himself emerges from his new office, a converted garage where he continues his mission of keeping the digital world safe for ordinary dreamers. He's found peace in the suburbs, satisfaction in protecting privacy rather than corporate profits, joy in being part of a family that chose each other through fire and trust. "Uncle Jake!" Lily shouts, running to show him her latest drawing. This one depicts their house with all of them standing together in the front yard, father and daughter, partner and friend, lighthouse keeper, and those he guides safely home. "That's beautiful, little star," Jake says, ruffling her hair. "Just like the real thing." Ethan looks at the scene before him, his daughter safe and healthy and happy, his partner brilliant and kind and unafraid, his friend rebuilding the world one line of code at a time. This is what victory looks like, not conquest or dominion, but love that survives the storm and family that chooses itself. The lighthouse beam sweeps across his memory, and for once, it illuminates not the darkness behind them, but the bright horizon ahead. Some stories end with the hero riding into the sunset. This one ends with the hero coming home to the people who make sunsets worth seeing. In Lily's drawing, the lighthouse stands eternal against the storm, its beacon promising that no matter how dark the night becomes, morning will always find its way to those who keep the light burning. And in the warm glow of autumn afternoon, surrounded by the family he never expected, but always needed, Ethan Cross understands that some lighthouses don't guide ships through treacherous waters. They guide hearts through the treacherous world, showing the way from loneliness to love, from fear to hope, from the darkness of what was to the brightness of what could be.